Welcome, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here. It's been a minute since I've done a vlog or even a video or read. Now, I have been reading, but my reading has been really sporadic. So this vlog is an attempt by me to fix my reading habits. So at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, I said I didn't want to read as much. Reading kind of has become an obsession over the last couple of years, and I wanted to focus on not just reading, but all of the hobbies that I enjoy. See, now I think the pendulum has swung too far the other direction, and I was focusing the last couple of months on the other hobbies a little too hard. So we want to be somewhere in the middle where I'm enjoying all of my hobbies equally, but also I think it's okay to maybe hyperfixate on one thing or focus on one thing and then focus on other things. I still have been reading. It's just not, I haven't been reading every day or to the level that I was last year or even in the first 3 months of the year. So we're going to work on reading during the evenings, reading when I'm exercising. I haven't been exercising that much, so we need to also just get back on my exercise grind, just going on my daily walks. But I could also listen to audiobooks while I'm doing that, you know? I've been enjoying nature and just not having an audiobook in, but we gotta lock in just a little bit more on the reading aspect. Other hobbies I've been doing, I've been gardening a lot, I've been knitting, I've been playing video games, probably too much, which is the one I need to maybe scale back just a little bit. So it's not like I haven't been doing things I've been enjoying, but we're gonna try to read. And one of the hobbies that I've been missing is making videos. I haven't made a video in a hot minute. So let's make a video right now together. To get me back into the reading mood and the reading habit, I decided to pick up an 1,000-page book because I'm insane and it was available at the library. So it's the book that I have available, and that is Heat of the Everflame. This is the third book in whatever romantasy series this is. This is the only, one of the only romantasy series that I'm actually really into. Not only for the angst and tension between the love interests, but also the fantasy is actually quite interesting to me. The main character is annoying, and she is a little bit, I'm a fantasy, romantasy lead. She's got a little bit of that energy, but there's enough interesting character dynamics, plot, world building happening alongside her for me to still enjoy this series. I think I've given the first 2 books 4.5 stars. I've really enjoyed it. So I'm 20% in to this 1,000-page book, but I feel like it's gonna fly by if I actually sit my butt down and dedicate time to listening to this audiobook. A couple other library books that I have right now. I have volumes 2 and 3 of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I gave the first book in this series 5 stars. This is a young adult queer rugby romance that I thought was so freaking adorable. And so reading these ebook from the library I think are going to be great and great mood boosters and to help me get back into reading with my eyeballs too. I actually read a book with my eyeballs this last weekend and I was like, I missed this. Why have I not been reading with my eyeballs recently? So we're slowly getting back into our reading habits, and here's where we're going to start. I have other books from the library because I just haven't been reading at the pace that the library holds have been coming in, so we have a lot of reading to do beyond these 3 books, but let's start here and we'll see where the vlog takes us. A mini harvest. Hello, good morning. It's several days later, and I did try to read more of Heat of the Everflame, but I got to a point where the main love interest, the guy, was starting to behave in a way that I was a little uncomfortable with. He was yelling at our main character and keeping secrets. And like, I understand there's supposed to be like, will they, won't they, angst and tension, and like, you can't reveal everything, but I just got tired of it. I'll be honest. I was just like, I'm 3 books in. They're not really together. Do I really like this plot enough to keep going? I wasn't super enthused about it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this series necessarily. I'm kind of ready to be done with it. So I think I'm DNFing it. But on a positive note, well, sort of, I did read a whole nother book. Although I have to talk to you about The Last Contract of Isako by Fonda Lee. This is her newest release, standalone sci-fi mystery, sort of, about a main character who is a quick draw fighter who is a contractor with this company. This is like a remnant of humanity on an ice planet. And there's like political factions deciding whether they should terraform more of the planet or try to get off of the planet and go back to Earth, and or even communicate with Earth because communication has been cut off. Isako's previous contract is ended, and her contract was transferred to a new owner, but she's 50 years old. She kind of wants to be done with that life, and so decides to do one more job for this new person on the stipulation that they will let her resign. And now resigning includes a huge bonus when she's done to her next of kin, because resigning includes ending their own lives to preserve resources. So she's like ready to die. And she's got a daughter, so she wants to leave like her daughter in good standing with some money and whatnot left over after her death. And unfortunately, I gave this 2.5 stars. I did not love this. The first half of the book, I was pretty into it and intrigued, but I will say the characters and the way this is written is very emotionally distant. And I honestly felt that way, at least about the first book in the Greenbone saga by the same author. I felt very emotionally distant from the characters. And even towards the end of that series, I didn't feel as devastated as I could have, for sure. So I think there's something about me and this author's writing that I just don't connect with. So there's that element. There's also, halfway through the book, we switch from our main female protagonist to a secondary character's perspective for many, many pages, just to explain what happened. And I feel like our main character could have solved this mystery or solved these mysteries without having to read from the other character's perspective and get so much exposition and explanation that way. So it really lost me in the second half, and I can understand why a lot of people DNF this book at like the 65% mark, because that's like right after the switch happens. And if you don't care about the plot or the characters at that point, you're not going to stick through that switch. I found this book predictable. I knew what was going on pretty early on, and I'm very dumb when it comes to predictability. I like to let stories wash over me, and I try not to pay too close attention, but as soon as a few things were introduced, I was like, oh, that's what's actually going on, and I proved to be right with not very much thought put into it. So unfortunately, it was predictable for me, so I didn't love how this ended. The tone of this is just very flat and not super fun for me to read. So it was fine. I didn't love it. 2.5 stars. I think it really suffered in the second half, which is why it's a 2 instead of like a 3-star for me. But hey ho, you can't win them all. And maybe I also read Fonda Lee's short story or novella, and I didn't like that either. So maybe the Greenbone saga is it for me with this author. She and I just, our brains don't get along in this way, which is fine. So today I have a lot to do in terms of chores, so I'm going to lock in and put in my headphones and listen to another audiobook. I still have the graphic novels on deck, so I will work on those today. But the next audiobook I have is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. This is a science fiction, magical realism fiction story about an author who is disabled. She's a paraplegic, she's in a wheelchair, and she is writing a sci-fi novel, which is like a genre outside of her typical genre. And this new novel becomes like a sensation. And so we're reading from her perspective, and then also we're getting bits of the sci-fi novel as well. And somehow towards the end, I think like reality and the book kind of interweave in an interesting way. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. But that's what I know about this book, is that the lines between reality and fiction kind of start to blur and maybe meld together. So there's a little bit of that magical realism or fantasy element in here. I will say I'm liking this one a lot better so far. The main character is an angry woman, and she is a flawed, disabled character, and I love that because it's really showing that, you know, human beings are human beings, and disabled people don't have to be perfect, morally upright beings to have access. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's speaking to me as a disabled person myself. I just feel for this character a lot, and I really understand what the author is trying to go for by making her kind of an quote unquote unlikable protagonist. She's angry. She's a supposed drug user. And I'm like, well, I would be too if I had to cope with what she has to cope with, you know? So I'm really feeling for this character is what I mean. So yeah, I'm going to lock in and get some stuff done and do more reading, because this is also a 16-hour audiobook. The last audiobook was also 16 hours. So I only have so much time in the day. So let's get to it. Being fully transparent, I am not doing okay today. And I don't know if it's this book or what. So today's Monday. Yesterday, the last clip you saw was Sunday. I started reading this book, and I was enjoying it is not the right word. I was appreciating this book for the first 50%. I was locked in. I was appreciating what the author was doing with it. And then the second half started, and it started to lose me. And I started having some kind of negative feelings, not necessarily towards the book, but internally about myself. And feeling sad, so sad. As a disabled person, it is hard for me sometimes to read about disabled characters like going through it. Sometimes it can be really triggering for me. For example, I cannot read All's Well by Mona Awad. I tried reading that book, and it was so triggering in the first 2 pages that I had to put it down because of the chronic illness and chronic pain discussion and the way that it was being handled, which is, you know, realistic, but it doesn't mean it was good for me and my mental health in the moment. And I'm wondering if this book is kind of doing the same thing to me and my mental health, because I'm just sad. I'm just sad, and I don't know what to do about that. I've now read 65% of the book, and it's kind of lost me in terms of my enjoyment or my appreciation for it in this second half. It's starting to drag on plot-wise for me, and I'm truly like not in a good mental space with this book. So I think I need to put it down. Really sadly, I was really not expecting it to go this way, but I think for my own mental well-being, I need to move on. So I am focusing on Heartstopper. When I started feeling that way, I read Heartstopper Volume 2 before going to bed last night, and I really loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. And this cute little YA gay rugby graphic novel romance is just so sweet and cute and fun and light, and I think it's what I need right now, based on my mental health. So we're going to keep reading Heartstopper. I read the second volume. I actually, since introducing this video, I got access to volumes 2 through 5. And so there's only one left that I don't have access to yet. So I'm just going to keep reading those and hopefully improve my mood. Typically, I'd go to the library. This is my volunteer night, but I don't know if I can handle it today. So we're just going to be gentle with ourselves today and do some self-care, eat some good food, maybe take a bath, even though there's a heat advisory. Just do all the things that, typically help me feel better. So sorry to report that news about death of the author, but it's just not happening right now. Hello, good morning. It's the next day, the next morning. Thank goodness, working from home today. I really needed a day at home, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. So last night I read volume 3, 4, and 5 of Heartstopper, and this soothed my tired, beleaguered, sad soul. Sorry, wasn't liking the angle there, or like the way the light was hitting me. As I was saying, volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Heartstopper was just what I needed. And it also helped that I finished the third volume and went to bed early, so I'm feeling rested in both body and heart, I guess. So I'm feeling a lot better today. Thank goodness. I think, unfortunately, DNFing Death of the Author by Nydia Okorafor was the right move for me in this moment. Do I think that book is worthy and people should read it? Absolutely. I just, again, for me, needed to put it down, and that the way that I'm feeling today, I think, solidifies that was the correct decision. So let me backtrack and actually tell you what Heartstopper is about. So we're following two characters. In the beginning, they're 14 and 15. Charlie and Nick go to a all-boys school in the UK. They sit next to each other in a class, and Charlie is kind of our main protagonist. Instantly has a crush on Nick. Nick gets Charlie to join the rugby team, and so they start developing this very fast, very deep friendship that evolves into a little bit of a romance. Now, this series deals with a lot of serious topics around growing up. Charlie has mental illness issues. He's got a lot of anxiety. Later in the series, we discover he has disordered eating and potentially OCD. And so we're dealing with growing up, mental health, friendships, bullies, anything, in that realm. And I'm not a young adult anymore. I have said over and over again that young adult isn't for me anymore, that I'm just not reading as much as I used to. And that's still true. But I think there are certain stories that just get to your heart and just get to the heart of the matter. And this spoke to me very deeply. The first volume made me sob. The second one made me cry. I teared up in the third one. This really spoke to my teenage self, and I really wish that I had this when I was growing up. Maybe I would have figured out I was queer a long time ago. If I knew to read books like this. Not that they didn't exist, because I'm sure they did. They were just lesser known when I was growing up, and I didn't know I needed these. So hindsight's 2020. But ultimately, so I'm loving this series. There's only one volume left, volume 6. I'm on the wait list at the library for it, and I'm sad that it's the last one, but I appreciate the author not dragging it out too. So I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm feeling better. And here's the best part. I feel like reading. I
love that. I actually looked at my library books that I had and I said, you know what? I really am excited to read this next book, which is exactly what I wanted out of this video, was to kind of revitalize me and give me the little bit of boost and to foster my love of reading and get me to read more. And that's how I'm feeling. So I think this was a success. We had some, it took us a while to get here. It was a bumpy road, but here we are. And I cannot wait to read my next read. I think I might end it here though. I'm getting back into making videos again, so this might be a little bit of a shorter vlog, maybe not as interesting, not as dynamic as I typically enjoy, but we're slowly getting back into the swing of making videos too. But I'm glad. I feel like my reading is back on track now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're currently reading and loving. Should I watch the Heartstopper TV show? Where can I watch it? I probably should watch it, right? So let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Again, thank you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video of mine very soon. Very soon. Bye.